Hello, everybody. So this is a pre-recording of myself, Chloe Cox, Superstar Director for Anchored Sense Group. This is for week 4 training of our Ladder to Leadership program. And hopefully by the time this training is posted, I have had my baby. So that is why we are pre-recording this. If I have not had my baby by this time, I'm going to feel some kind of way. So we're just not even going to speak that. So I'm really excited to talk about this topic. Katie and Chastity are going to be doing a training on this, this week as well in this program. And this is really going to tie together your leadership, your business, and really how you can sustain and continue to be an extremely well-organized and well-producing business owner. I want to start by saying, you guys have been in this program. We've been doing Ladder to Leadership for the past 4. This is going into the 4th week now. And please excuse my dog. I have a poodle mix who literally love him, but he's so annoying. He whines all the time. So that's that. But you guys have learned through this program tips and tricks on how to be an incredible business owner and an incredible leader. And so this training is hopefully going to sum up for you the things that you need to make sure that you're doing every single day, every single week, every single month. I think that the reason that a lot of leaders struggle are 2 reasons. Number 1, they don't have a big enough dream. So I don't like the whole, well, my why is this. I like to say, what is your deepest dream, right? And a lot of leaders in SCENTSY don't really have a dream. They're like, oh, well, my goal is this. Well, why is your goal that? So we've talked about all these things through the program. However, I think that you need to understand that your dreams have to be like extremely, extremely high and just extravagant, and to the point where they don't even seem believable. And the second reason why I think a lot of consultants and leaders do not succeed in SCENTSY is because they do not treat it like a business, and they don't work every single day in their business. And that is, that goes the same if you have another job besides SCENTSY. You can't just go to work and do nothing and sit back and get paid. I was a nurse for 5.5 years before I retired to just do SCENTSY, and I would have to go to work, clock into work, take care of all my patients, give all my meds, do their assessments, put orders in, deliver those orders, all of these things in order for me to get paid, right? So what I want you to understand when I get into this 80-20 rule is that your business is no different. You have to show up. And that is why through this program, which I'm so honored to even be a part of this with Katie and Chastity. Those of you that are watching this on YouTube are going to be like, what is Ladder to Leadership? It is a leadership program that Katie, Chastity, and myself, us 3 SSDs, launched together for our group. And I can't wait to honestly do it again in the spring. I'm hoping they'll do it again with me, because I feel like a lot of you have woken up and you've risen to the fact that you haven't been accountable to your own business first, and second, that you haven't been serving your team really well. And both of those are a formula for disaster if you're not doing either of those things. So you're not going to get paid at title. You're not going to be able to keep recruits because you're not training them well. You're not going to get team members to trust you and want to coach with you. And so my hope through the program is that you guys learned that you're capable, that you can do hard things, and that it doesn't matter if life is going to happen and busyness is going to happen. Like, for goodness sakes, I'm 36 weeks pregnant right now. And I've been actually super sick during this pregnancy. And for one day, I didn't let that stop me from my deep dreams and from living my best life and from really working my business and just being an extremely organized and serving consultant to my team and to my customers. So the 80-20 rule is so important, and I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but we're going to start with the 80%. So when you were building a team, one of the hardest things that I've seen leaders go through is they want to dump everything into their team, right? You want to start being like this big mentor. You want to do all these programs. You want to do all these things. Can I encourage you to do something? The biggest way, the greatest way you will ever encourage, mentor, and serve your team is by example. And that is why the 80% rule, okay, the 80-20, that 80% is your business. So things that we are talking about and have been talking about throughout this program and that you've seen trainings on and you see me and Katie Chastity do are systems. And I know that we have drilled this and we have drilled this, but I'm going to drill it again. If you do not run your systems, you will not be able to run your business. You must have systems in place for your business in order to have an organized pattern of a structure, if you will, of how to run SCENTSY. And this is the deal. And I have done trainings before where I've talked about this. This is the issue. You act like you don't want systems, but the reality is that every day when you wake up, you have a system. You have certain things that you do every single day when you wake up, go to work, brush your kids' teeth or whatever, like get their clothes on, get out the door, grab your keys. Like you have systems in everyday life. And if you don't have systems, you probably have a pretty chaotic life. And I can tell you because I've literally had systems ever since I was probably 9 years old. It started with my dad making me make my bed and clean my room. Okay. I've always been like a firm believer in systems and having a clean space and being able to work in a clean space. And so let's talk about systems that I use every day in my business for my business. Okay. We're talking about my personal business, Chloe's business, Chloe's customers, Chloe's parties. Okay. So systems that I use for my customers, I am continuously and constantly using a follow-up system. If you are not using a follow-up system for your customers, you are not going to be able to follow up with them correctly. A follow-up system is not Facebook Messenger. A follow-up system is not when you randomly decide to send a text to your customer. A follow-up system is not you go in your order history and you randomly text your customers. A follow-up system is either using Maven, which SCENTSY operates through that you can download, or using something like the mail out form, which is what I use from Chastity Systems. Guys, if you are not serving your customers extremely well, they are not going to want to buy under you. They're not going to refer you. Listen, I have someone joining my team tomorrow that is a referral from a customer I've had for years in a different state. This customer lives in Tennessee. She found me years ago. I just started following up with her, taking really good care of her. Her daughter joined and I'm training her tomorrow and she's going to be a boss. That was a referral from customer follow-up. It's so easy once you start building a team, like I said, to want to just gear into doing all the team things. But listen to me. If you are not serving your customers really, really well, and the next thing I'm going to talk about is parties, and you're not partying and getting scents in people's noses, products in people's faces, samples in people's homes, you are going to struggle because you're not going to lead your team by example. It's going to flip-flop and you're leading your team by telling them what to do. And the reality is you're not their boss. Just like how Chloe Cox is not your boss. Anytime I train my team on things, they are things that I am actively doing. If I'm training my teams on how to book a party, it's because Chloe already has 8 to 10 parties booked for that month and she knows what to do. Okay, so a customer mail out system, follow-up system, Maven, the mail out forms, whatever it is that you want to do, you need to have a system. Let's talk about parties. You need to have a system for that. You need to either be using the party plan out mailer that Chastity has, or you can use any of the systems that Katie Laster has posted throughout this training. You can use label systems. That's what Katie uses every day to keep track of what she's doing. You need to have a system for the way that you party. Not only do you need to have a system for the way that you party, but you need to have an action plan for your goals. So if your goals are 2,000 in sales a month, and I was just talking to a leader about this the other day, her goal was 2,000 a month, but she had no action plan on how to get there. So you need to make sure when you are planning your business and your goals for the month, if you want 2,000 a month, which every leader should be striving for 2,000, number one, that is the highest way you can lead by example. Number two, you're going to get the 5% bonus. And number three, because that means every single time that you are getting an order and increasing your PRV, you're increasing your customer base. And when you increase your customer base, that is huge for your 80% on the 80-20 because your customers are the heart and breath of your business. They are the living breath of your business. Your customers are the ones that are going to buy from you, host under you, join under you, and refer you. And that is everything. And it's going to be very difficult for you to do that whenever you are not making it a priority to have your PRV in order and knowing how you're going to get there. You can't simply say or comment on a post on your director's page that your goal is 2,000 to 3,000 for September, yet you have zero action plan. So what I want you guys to start doing is every Sunday, I want you to make your goals for the week. Okay, you should have monthly goals in your business, and you should have weekly goals in your business. A monthly goal could be promote a superstar consultant. And a way to get there would be, a weekly goal would be sponsor 2 people this every week. So sponsor 2 people this week, 600 PRV this week. Okay. Then your action plans, the second thing I want you to do. So I want you to write your 3 big focuses down every Sunday night, your 3 big goals for the week. And then I want you to write your action plan of how you're going to get there. If you want 2,000 PRV, that's not just going to come out of thin air. If you want 2,000 PRV, and listen to me, because I know there's so many of you guys that are wanting these things, but you're making no action plan to get there. And that's not a way to run a business. If you want 2,000 PRV, you have got to prioritize and say, okay, I'm going to have 30 conversations this week about getting free SCENTSY in people's hands to get online, bag, home parties booked, etc. I'm going to book 8 parties this month. I'm going to get an event booked so I can broaden my customer base. This is the thing. You have got to quit saying that people don't want to buy SCENTSY, or honestly things that leaders shouldn't even say. I should not hear out of my leaders' mouths that nobody wants to buy SCENTSY, or that they have, I can't stand this excuse. I've outdone my customers. I don't even understand that. Because if you're setting weekly goals, you're not going to run out of customers. SCENTSY's everywhere. You are SCENTSY. So when you are breaking down your goals every week, I want you to not just set goals. Let's stop just setting goals. Sorry, my brain's everywhere. Quit setting goals without action plans. That's the biggest mistake I've seen in leaders. I've really seen it this past year, is that you guys are setting goals when I'm on the phone with you, coaching you guys, but there's no action plan in place. So what's happening is it's the end of the month and you realize that you're not at your 2,000 PRV, but you booked 1 party for the entire month. Yet you're doing coaching calls with your team. That makes no sense. You have no place in doing coaching calls with your team members when you have 1 party booked and you haven't even reached your 500 in leadership pay. Do you understand what I'm saying? So make sure that you're balancing heavily on the 3 legs of success that we've been talking about all month, your PRV. Your PRV can come from individual orders, parties, events, fundraisers, you name it. If you have not done one of the things I just said, as far as getting PRV, challenge yourself to do that. Because this is the deal. How are you going to teach your teams when you're coaching them on how to do events and home parties and bag parties and mini parties and bingo parties if you have not done them yourself? You're literally training your team to do things that you're not doing, and that's not what we're going to do. And that's why the 80% is such a heavy percentage in the 80-20 rule, because you really have to become an excellent consultant. Your customers don't just need to think of you as, oh yeah, she's a SCENTSY consultant and whatever. They need to say, Chloe's the best. I know she has samples of all the things. Let me send you to her. I know she'll take care of you. She always has bulbs on hand. She always has testers on hand. That's what you want people to think about you. And you're not going to get there if you're too focused as soon as you start building a team on gravitating all your time to your team. I promise you the biggest way they're going to learn is from your example. The second system I use for my business, for my personal business, so I've talked about following up with your customers. I've talked about having a way that you track your parties. Okay, but I also keep up with annual sales. I do an annual sales tracker, an annual mentor tracker. And then I also have monthly tasks that I look at on a sheet that is in Chastity Systems, okay? So I myself have monthly tasks that I am checking off throughout the entire month of every month, making sure I've gotten my 8 parties booked. That's on my monthly task tracker. Making sure that I have followed up with all my customers. That's on my task tracker. And I'm literally doing that weekly, almost every other day. Business supplies. I'm making sure that I've ordered my business supplies. Guys, quit booking parties when you don't have the bags and the testers ready to book parties. That's another part of, if your goal is 2,000 PRV, or if your goal is 8 parties, but you have no action plan set up in place of having testers and having bag parties ready, what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense to me. when you are making your plan for your PRV you want to hit, your parties you want to hit, etc., you have got to have an action plan and have those ready to go. Your office space, that's another thing that is your personal business. You need to make sure your office space is organized, ready to go. If you looked at my office space, and my life is just as busy as the next person, so we're not going to act like Chloe sits at home all day and has time to do it and you don't. Let's not forget, I retired as a nurse because of SCENTSY and worked all the way up to SSD. Some of you are sitting at lead consultant with a team of 5 people and you're acting like it's too hard, and that's not what we're going to do. You are in control of making sure that your office space is ready, that you have bag parties ready to go, that you have bulk sampled. All of these are things on my YouTube channel that I have. You are in control of setting your business up to be a grab and go. You have all the things, you know where they're at, they're organized. There is no way that I could run my business and pump out as many parties as I do and mentor all the people in our group that I do if I did not have my business together. There's no way that I could do coaching calls and teach people how to do parties if I did not have my parties ready to go. Literally, they sit behind me and have a party cart, and I have my catalogs and everything ready to go. You need to make sure that you are constantly serving your customers well. Your catalogs are ready to go. You have labels made on Vistaprint and saved. You're using apps like Canva and the Over app, and you're making flyers that are personalized. When your orders come in, you're doing sniff sessions live on Facebook so you can show your customers and give them an experience of what the scents smell like and what the warmers look like before you're running on your team page. It's so important that you are taking extremely good care of your customers, your office space, your mindset. The last thing I'm going to talk about for personal growth for the 80% is personal growth and self-development. You should always be learning. That's why those of you who have done this program and you've made it to week 4, I applaud you. It takes a lot to get out of your head and to decide, I'm going to make a commitment to watch Chloe and Chastity's videos throughout the week and the top performer Zoom every week and to do the task. But I guarantee you, those of you that are watching this right now and that have done the tips and the task and you have implemented all of the things that we've said and you've moved in your business, you probably have the highest PRV you've ever had. You're probably booking all the parties. You're probably working systems that you never thought you would do that are changing your business. You're transforming the 80% of how to run a business, and your team is going to learn that from you. And don't just think that's going to happen in a month. Don't just think people are going to want to do coaching calls with you because you just started it this month. It takes time. I always tell my team, give it about 3 months. I always tell my leaders, keep doing what you're doing. They'll see the consistency. Give it about 3 months. But you yourself as a leader, you have to do self-development almost daily. You need to make sure that you're feeding your brain with things that are going to grow you and stretch you and challenge you. Me and Chastity and Katie talk about this a lot. Your circle and your top 5 is everything. So who you're surrounding yourself with on a daily basis, that's your choice. It's a choice. Just like how being broke is a choice, success is a choice, the people you allow to either kill your brain and your mindset or thrive your brain and your mindset is a choice. And I'm living proof of that because there are many relationships I'm not in because they're not good for me, and that was a choice. You have a choice every day whenever you are working your business of who you allow into your business. And I think it's so important for you to understand that that isn't just people, but it's also podcasts you're listening to, music you're listening to, influences you're around. So make sure that you are in that 80%, that you are also feeding your brain, your I always say mind, body, and soul. That's what I tell my friends. Your mind, body, and soul with things that are good. Because when you feel good and people are breathing life into you, even on those days when you want to give up, you're going to be like, I got this. I got this because I have people around me that are doing this too. And they're going through stuff. And if they can do it, I can do it. Right? So you can't serve your team well if you're not serving yourself well. So making sure that you're on top of your business. Use a weekly tracker. That's in Chastity Systems. A monthly tracker. The daily sticker systems from Katie. These are all things that you guys are going to have access to through this program. Use them. Don't just watch the trainings that we've been doing this month, and don't just watch them and be like, okay, I'm going to do next month when my baby's sleeping through the night. Guys, you're always going to have struggles with your baby. Kids are kids. I have a 5-year-old and he's literally like a monster right right now. Like, he literally just told me last night that he was in his feels. Like, that's what I'm dealing with right now. So life is always going to happen around you, but you've got to get control over your business. The 80% is if you're not in control of the 80%, that is why, even if you're growing a team, I don't give a damn if you're sponsoring 5 people a month. If your 80% is not under control and you don't have systems in place, you're not taking care of your business, you're not serving your customers well, you're not having a really good follow-up system, you're not keeping up with your parties, you can't serve a team because you're chaotic. And so that's the main thing I really wanted to say about the 80%. So getting systems in place for yourself, creating big dreams, having a big mindset, so you can really keep up with your business, with your parties, with your customer service. I mean, I don't do a thing with my team until I take care of my parties. And I don't even do coaching calls until the second week of every month, because I want to make sure Chloe's business is taken care of the first week of every month. So that's when I am really making sure I have all my business supplies ordered, is the first week of the month, okay? That's when I'm making sure all my parties are mailed out. That's when I'm making sure I'm hardcore doing customer service, even though I'm doing it all month. The first week of the month is when I'm really checking in. I'm being very intentional. I'm dropping off warmers at businesses. I'm even working on team mailouts. That's Chloe's time that first week. So if you were jumping into the first of the month and you were already doing coaching calls and you're letting your team override you, your business is going to suffocate. And you're going to end up taking care of this team, but your personal business sucks because you haven't booked parties or events or fundraisers or bingo nights or online parties, like whatever you want to do to get your PRV. I always say, and this is something recently, the past few months I've been telling my leaders, you need to have your 500 in by the first week. And that comes from front loading. And that's why for your personal business, for that 80%, by the way, that last week of every month, you should already have parties and know exactly, parties out and know exactly where that PRV is going to come from for the next month. Do not be that consultant that's scrambling the next month to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Don't be that person when I'm doing a coaching call with you and it's literally almost the middle of the month, but you have one party out because you haven't done a thing, but we're going to talk about coaching calls with your team. No, you have no business coaching your team when you have one party out and when you don't have your 500 PRV in. You need to get back to the basics, work your business, create a list of 100, figure out how to find new customers, get trainings on YouTube and from your sponsor on how to find new customers. Train yourself. That's self-development. Train yourself. Quit waiting on some magic poof of thin air to train you on how to do an online party. If you want to know how to do an online party, go search on YouTube and just go for it. You've got to make moves in your business in order to figure out, did that work or did that not work? If it didn't work, let's figure out what I can do to make it work. And then I can do a coaching call with my sponsor and we can go over a game plan. For personal business, business supplies, parties. You are recruiting too. I didn't even talk about that. Oh my gosh. Your personal business, when I am working my business every day, I am starting with recruiting. So start with sponsoring and default to a party. I am constantly sharing the opportunity every day with someone. I'm constantly sharing the opportunity with reinstatements. I can't believe I didn't talk about this for personal business. Oh my gosh. I have a dream team list. I use the new consultant checklist. Okay. I use the reinstatement checklist. These are all chastity systems. And Chloe is going to take care of her people. My people who I've sponsored know that they are my priority. They know that if they reach out to me and have business hours, gosh, I didn't talk about that either. You need to have business hours. And you can still have business hours when you work crazy shifts, okay? You can. You need to clarify with your new consultants what your business hours are, okay? And I put that now in my new consultant packets I send out. I have a little flyer of my business hours. But I am always making it a priority every day to have my recruiting conversations, and then I'm following up with my host. Recruiting conversations, following up with my host. Training my new recruits. I'm literally training a new recruit right after this recording, and then I'm following up with my host after that. And then I'm doing a coaching call at the end of the day. So do you understand, even from the way that I'm working my day today, it's Chloe's personal business, okay? Training a new recruit, following up with host, and then I'm going to do a coaching call at 2:30 today. So you need to make sure, especially those of you that are leaders, quit recruiting during an incentive, and quit saying too that you're only going to have high PRV during an incentive. You should be shooting for $2,000 a month. Guys, don't be minimal. If you're minimal, your team's going to be minimal. That is why I'll never be minimal, because if I was minimal, we wouldn't have a group of 4,500 people right now. Like, you create the structure and the driving force of your team. It has nothing to do with anybody but yourself. When you're not involved in your business, your team's not going to be involved in your business. When you're nasty or in your feels and not spreading joy, your team's going to portray that. When you let your team walk all over you, they're not going to want to do what you do. When you're not booking parties, your team won't book parties. So 80% definitely a million % includes sponsoring. Sponsoring is a huge part of my 80%. 20%. So things I do with my team, I do coaching calls the second, third, and fourth week of the month on Wednesdays and Thursdays only, okay? Right now I've been pregnant and I'm in the end of my pregnancy. I'm taking about at least 4 weeks off of coaching calls. So I've been doing a little more in the coaching call aspect, but it's typically 99% of the time Wednesdays and Thursdays. I got that idea from Chastity because that's what she does. And I was like, that's genius, because you will get burnt out. You will. And this is the thing. Quit thinking that just because you just started the AIM program and just started offering coaching calls that your team's going to want to do it. If you have been a flaky leader and you haven't consistently done coaching calls, which I know many of you haven't, and we're going to stop that because that's not what you need to do. You don't need to be an in and out leader. We've talked about that all month. You need to be consistent in offering coaching calls, building relationships with your downline, giving them the belief that they can do this. And that's something even more so now that I've completely changed the way I train. My new consultants that have joined from April to now can tell you, like, it's, we don't play. They earn Shooting Star. They get certified. Some of them are leads right now. They have earned Sensational Start levels 1, 2, and 3. They're sponsoring. I am really training them up to see the maximum that they can get out of this business. Okay, so when I'm coaching them, I am picky on who I coach. I choose who I want to coach. Don't just open coaching calls to him, her, and everybody on your team. Be respectful. Start with your front line. Do not just go 2 and 3 down and coach them. It is your responsibility to serve your front line really well. If you have a front line that you have tried to build a relationship with, and I don't do drama, so we're not going to do this whole whatever. Like, I have dealt with negative people in my group, and when I deal with them, I'm done with them. But I always give people the benefit of the doubt to coach and train them first. And if they don't want to coach and train, then I will move down to their downline, and I tell them that. But you want to make sure when you are identifying who you want to coach, as a leader, you're pulling reports. And I'm sure Chastity and Katie are going to talk about when they pull reports. You should be pulling your bar report on the 10th of the month. You should be looking at your reporting tab every couple of days and ascending your top PRV, ascending who your top people are that have sponsored. You should be shouting these people out on your team page. Star consultants and above, you should have a team page, and you should be building your culture. If you are banking off your director, SD or SSD's page to build a culture because you're scared, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't embrace your leadership, your leaders or your potential leaders or your team is not going to be able to embrace theirs. You need to build the culture that that you envision. I've always told my group that. That is something I've always been huge on. You are in control of your culture. You're in control of the direction of your team. You're in control of what you'll allow on your team page and what you do not. Okay, so coaching calls, get consistent with them. Identify your leaders you want to work with. I work with my people that are hungry, that are producing, that are having high PRV, and that are sponsoring. I'm not going to work with people that aren't doing a damn thing in their business. Love you guys, but Chloe has 600 people on her own team, and I can't work with all 600. So I'm going to work with the new consultant that's sponsoring and hungry and earns Sensational Start level 3 and make her a priority above the superstar consultant that hasn't been paid a title. And you need to understand that, especially advanced leaders, directors, and above, you cannot save these people. You can lead by example, but you got to quit trying to save people. You need to work with the people that are hungry and that want it. So do my coaching calls Wednesdays and Thursdays, second, third, and fourth weeks of the month. I also schedule my posts. This has been a game changer for me. Every Sunday night, I schedule my post for the whole following week of what I want to focus on. I save posts that I see on different pages, or like I'll take pictures of things I'm doing in my office that week, bad parties, just whatever images I find. And I schedule my posts. They go at 7 a.m. One goes at 7 a.m. One goes at 7 p.m. every day. It's auto posted. Scheduling post. It's awesome because you don't need to be tied to your phone. And guess what? Facebook ain't gonna make you money like that. If you're always tied to your phone and you're not using your systems for your business and you're not communicating with customers, like, yeah, Facebook is a great marketing tool, but it'll suck the life out of you if you're always like involved in your team page and doing all the things. So I pre-schedule all my posts for my team. Okay. I also have a checklist for my coaching calls. Okay. And I have a checklist for my rising leaders. These are all systems Chastity has. All right. So I use both of those for my team and for my leaders to keep up with them, hold them accountable, etc. Banners. I put a banner on my team page, my leadership page, and my director page the first 3 days of the month. It'll have the top producing teams for my director page and leadership page. And for my team page, I have the top PRV and I have the top recruiters. These are things that are on my monthly checklist. If I didn't have that on my monthly checklist, it won't get done, my task list. So this is another thing I'm doing with my team. Also, recognizing top contributors. You can do that from your team page. I do that at least once a week and I shout them out. I appreciate my top contributors. You can find that on your team page. Who's contributing? Free recognition with your team. Guys, recognition can be free. We are going to talk about that this week. You can send emails. You can send text, voice text. Those are free things that you can be doing. So I at least do 2 email recognitions for my people that are in the top 50 in sales in my team. Guys, if you have a team of 3, start with the top 2. Like, start now. And I always tell people that, like, I don't understand why people are star and superstar consultants that aren't doing monthly team meetings. My husband can tell you when I had a group of 2 people on my team, I was doing free conference call, this ghetto 1-800 number, and I would do monthly team meetings on there with my team because they weren't local. I literally started right away. Nobody even told me to, but I was like, I feel like I need to connect. If you're not connecting with if your team's not listening to you and you're seeing minimal engagement, it's because you're a minimalistic leader and you're not connecting with them. So making sure that you're making that a priority to have connection with your team at least once a month is critical. Let's see. Also, I talked about coaching. I talked about scheduling posts, and really with your team, just making sure that you are, I already said this, but your culture is everything. If you have somebody that's nasty on your team, nip that in the bud out of love and don't allow it. I don't allow stuff like that on my team. If somebody's ugly or nasty to me, like, I just tell them how it is and say, my page is a privilege, not a right. And, I want you on here, but if you're going to act this way, I'm not going to have you on here. Okay. Get consistent in how you're going to recognize them. Free recognition. I also do mail outs every month. That's something I've been doing 7 years. It works for me. It's cheap. I do a postcard with some glitter in it. I do top sales for my group, top sales for my team. And I also do promotion mail out. So all of those things I do every single month. And that's something I'm consistent in. That's in my monthly tracker. And the biggest thing that you need to understand, because I think I just nipped in the butt all the 80-20 things, is that if you are not consistent in these things, they're not going to work. So get systems in place, work your business first, front load your business every month. Honestly, every couple of days I look at my business. I'm like, how is my month? Where are my recruits at? If I want 5 recruits this month, right? I have 3 new recruits so far. 1 signing up tomorrow, that's 4, but I still have another one I need to work on. I'm always thinking ahead, and I'm always like, hey, when is this person going to sign up? How can I recreate my list of 100? Where can I find people? How can I connect with people? Connection is everything. Connection is what is going to drive together your 80-20 to make it the 100%. You have to have connection in your personal business. You have to have connection with your team. If you're not connecting with your customers and you're not connecting with your team, you're going to clash. And that comes with you showing up for work, being ready to work. Like I said in the beginning of this training, you don't get paid at your job because you go in there and just sit down. And if you do, I'm very confused. But most of you, when you go into work, you have tasks you have to do, things you have to take care of in order to get paid. If you are not serving your customers and your team well, both of those things, you're not going to get paid. If you're only doing recognition once every 5 months, you're not going to get paid. And I know SSDs that were doing this until recently. You can't expect for your team to look up to you or to want to do what you do when you're only doing things 20% of the time. If you're going to make a decision on how you're going to recognize, that needs to happen every single month, like clockwork. If you're going to make a decision on how much PRV you're going to have a month, how many recruits you're going to have a month, well, you need to make action plans on how to do that. Sitting behind your computer or your phone and posting on your team page all these tasks for them to do when your PRV is sitting at $200 is not okay, like in any way, shape, or form. So handle your business. 80% rule. You first. You are the heaviest contributor to the success of your business and to your downline. They're looking at you. And stay consistent in that. The 20% with your team, start building connection with them now. Recognize them now. Voice text them now. When they get active, pull your reports. Some of you have never pulled a report, and I don't understand that. You have access to your entire team's numbers, recruits. You can look up their lifetime PRV, all of those things. And you're not doing that. But at the end of the month, you're like, let's go, team. We're almost at numbers. That does not make you look good when you're only contributing on your team page at the end of the freaking month. Like, I'm not okay with that. We've got to stop doing that. So, long story short, because this has been a very long training, 80% yourself, 20% your team, connection on both ends so you can mesh them together and you can have a successful business. And I hope this was helpful. I know Katie and Chastity are going to be bringing the heat tonight on their training, and we are always here to help you guys rise. Use all the tools that we have implemented and went over, and most importantly, do them. So don't just watch what we're doing. Don't just sit back and be like, yeah, girl, you're Chloe, you're so motivational. Well, motivation is garbage. Like, at the end of the day, you have to work. My motivation is not going to make you work. You have to make yourself work and do all of these things. All right, guys, bye.